Hello, hello, and welcome to this Xbox Live episode 382. Boy, oh boy, we are getting close to 400. This week's episode is named Give Us a Break. And this week you have myself, BJ Swick 33, and Mr. Presar.
What's up, buddy? It's Rob. Hello, hello.
So, how are you today, Rob?
I'm doing fantastic.
All right. How was your week of gaming?
Um, I wish there was more to it.
I agree with that. I played a very interesting game this week. I'll explain all of it to you here
Okay.
in a brief moment.
Now you
Um,
piqued my curiosity.
oh yes, oh yes. Um, so, like I said, episode 382, we broadcast live on Twitch every Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern, and the MP3 goes out to all your favorite podcasting apps on typically on Monday. So, give or take any audio issues. So,
Exactly.
but I think we've probably missed Monday maybe 3 or 4 times in the last year or something, due to
This
issue.
year,
Well, yeah, no, I mean like in a calendar year. So um, you're pretty good at hitting that Monday. So,
yeah.
but couple more things I asked Mark. I forgot to ask you actually, Rob. Um, Ola Chalk One.
Sure. Okay.
He used to be on, or he still has Battlefield podcast. When Mark and I started podcasting, it was he was on one podcast and we were on the other. Um,
Forever ago.
yeah, forever ago. I would consider him. I don't know him personally, but I would consider him, a friend. Um, he and somebody else has started up a new podcast, and it's called Push to Talk. I don't know if you've actually checked it out, Rob.
No, I
No.
haven't.
All right, they're on episode 2. It's brand new. It's short. It's a shorter podcast. I think it's been around 30 minutes or so, but it's push to talk.fm. Go out there and give them a listen. It's actually really good. The last 2 episodes, they usually they kind of pick a topic, and they kind of talk about it for a half hour or so, and then they have like Scanner Barkley. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he usually does like a weekly rant. So
Hey, don't we have that trademarked?
we should have trademarked it. That's what I was getting ready to say. We should have trademarked that.
That's
But
not cool.
yeah, so it's really good. It's a good podcast. So I just wanted to mention it, because we know who they are. So we like to share the love. So that was the first announcement. The second announcement, I'll explain a little bit more here in a minute. But I got to go to the CS:GO MLG major that was in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
So it was pretty cool. I went there and I got to meet up with some guys at a company, or I guess you can call them a company. But I've been beta testing some software, or alpha closed beta testing, I guess if you want to
Is
say.
this fun software or?
It's streaming software, believe it or
Okay.
not.
All right.
You know what it is because we did something with it. We tried probably 2 3 months ago to try it out.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Okay.
they are in open beta, and for anybody who likes to stream or wants to start streaming, and you look at XSplit or OBS, like we use XSplit for this show. I use OBS when I stream personally, because I don't want to conflict. I don't want to ruin my show, our show set up for
You
something of
better
mine.
not.
So I
You
just went
don't.
with something else. Um, you have to go through all the bit rate stuff and let me make sure this is right and this is right and this is right. If you just want something that's easy, you don't have to worry about it. You add assets, you put it on the page, you hit go, and it starts streaming. You should try this out. It's called it's Infinicine, so it's INFINISCENE. So infinicine.com. They are an open beta. Go sign up and try it out if anybody's interested in doing some streaming of your own. They did not pay me to say that. They did not pay us to say that. Like I said, I've been closed beta testing, and since they're an open beta, I can kind of mention it now.
So they
Um,
haven't paid us. Does that mean that the check's in the mail
yeah, yeah,
now?
checks it out.
It
No,
better be.
it's actually really good when people don't pay you for something, because when you talk about it and you actually mean it, it means something. It's worth something. So if you go try the open beta, just remember it's beta. They have a Discord. If you bump into any issues, they want to hear about it. They love it. But that's the reason I went up to meet those guys at the MLG events. My first event going. I don't play CS:GO. I know all about it though. But it was a neat event. I mean, uh, just to go, and I mean, there's 8,000-9,000 people there. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy.
That's quite a
So,
few people.
oh my gosh, it was huge. It was at Nationwide Arena in Columbus, and of course, I work in Columbus, so they were there like, hey, don't you work? Aren't you in Columbus? I was like, yeah, and they're like, you should, come over and see us. So I went over and saw them and got to meet them, and they're really cool guys. So, but yeah, the event was pretty neat. So I went on Saturday. I got to see Luminosity versus a Brazilian group, I think, or I can't remember the other team, but they ended up winning that round when I was there, and actually they won the whole thing today. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I have some pictures and stuff. If anybody's interested, I'll put them in Facebook on the post tomorrow when I get home, just to show you kind of where I was at and what it was like. But pretty cool. Makes me want to go out and try to play CS:GO just to try it. I know it's like $14, but I would never be a professional. Those guys are insane. I mean, it is insane. They know every nook and cranny of a map and
Yeah.
where to bank stuff and all sorts of stuff. It's crazy.
Because
But
some of these people have been playing that for like a dozen years.
oh yeah, absolutely. So, but the guys that I went up to see, like one of them, he's like, oh yeah, a couple of us play it in the office. I'm like, well, now I'm gonna have to buy it. Give me a week to get good, and then I'll come and beat you up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that didn't go over too well. He's just looked at me. I'm
week
just
or a year.
oh, yeah, a week, whatever. But no, so that was my second announcement. But yeah, that's kind of the one big thing I did this weekend was went up there and watched that. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yep. So, but those are two announcements: open beta and push to talk FM. And it is Zencaster? Is it in open beta as well?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody out there, you like the software, right?
Oh yeah. You're giving out all of our secrets. What's up with you?
Well,
Loose lips.
it's not
Sink
secret.
run.
It's not secret. Zencaster is what we use to actually record the show, put it together, and that's what you hear on Monday, is a recording from Zencaster. So it is also in beta. So when I said when there's no audio issues,
And
which
not Zencaster. That's Skype.
well, that's Skype. I think
Personal.
we had one Zencaster issue, like when it didn't mix together right and it threw it all off.
Well, that
By-
was our. Well,
Yeah, I think there's been one, but you can't blame the software. But yeah, so all right. What have you been playing?
yeah, for me, the only thing I've really been playing that's notable on the Xbox is just Mirror's Edge. Finally got the original finished. And one thing that was really surprising to me was that, so I was going through the entire game. So, well, okay, let me retrace my steps here. So, years ago when the game first came out, what is that, like 2009-ish, maybe 2008, 2009?
I think so.
I played it back then. Actually, I think we all played it back then. I know Wing did. Did you ever play it?
Which one?
Mirror's Edge?
I think when they had a
Yeah.
beta, didn't they have a beta?
No.
They had something. I played
this is
it.
360 stuff, man.
Well, I know, but I played it, but I never bought it. I never owned it, so I can't
Maybe
tell
you
you how I
played
played
it vicariously through me and Wing.
Either that or I
Anyway.
game flied it. Maybe that's
Yeah.
when I had a game fly. I remember playing it.
Okay.
So
But back then, I played it and I never finished it. And I didn't really remember how close I was to that. I remember there was some point where I got really frustrated and I just put it down and I never went back to it. So when it came out on the 360 backwards compatibility for the Xbox One, I picked it up, started playing it, just playing it here and there. And I'm playing throughout this whole thing, and it gives me like no achievements,
Hmm.
like none whatsoever. I'm like, how far along was I in this game? And so it was actually this morning I went through and I finally finished the entire thing. And there was one achievement that popped. So I'm like wondering to myself now, I'm like, was I like 5 minutes from the end of the game when I stopped? Because actually the last slew of enemies, they were kind of tough. It took probably about 2 dozen tries to get through it. But anyway, now that this thing is behind me, I'm looking forward to getting the new one when it comes out towards the end of May. So it's about 6, 7 weeks out, and we'll see how that goes in comparison. I'm sure it's going to be night and day, with graphics
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff and
the new one actually
generations.
looks really good.
Yeah, and they also have. I was watching a developer diary type of YouTube that they released last week, where they showed that they actually did the City of Light, I think is what they call it, or something along those lines. They normally have it in a day, and now they're having this like crazy like night scene, and it looks just amazing. Very vibrant. The lights, it's very crisp, and they were actually talking about how in a lot of games everything looks so dirty, like uh, the Division.
Right.
So everything's dirty, everything's cramped, whereas in Mirror's Edge, everything's like clean and sterile looking and such. So just a different take on graphics for sure. So that's been my big thing, and then also Clash Royale. I got to throw that in, play that daily.
Okay.
But that's been about it. How about you?
Well, right now I just lost every screen on my computer. All right, got it all
Are
back.
you flying
I
blind?
I probably went just like I probably went completely dark in my because all the light comes off my monitor. So this week played the Division, of course. Um, also played Rocket League on Friday for FNL, which was fun. Rocket League always a good game. And so those two things and the surprise game. And I may just be late to the game, all right. But I happened to get an early access code to Paragon,
Okay.
which is like it's a third person MOBA. I guess it'd be like Smite, I guess is a third person MOBA. But Paragon
Yeah.
is Epic Games. So
Oh,
um,
okay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I got a key to that, and I pretty much played all day today. I had fun. I really liked it, and I'm just like, oh man, I should have played Smite. um, but now it makes me want to go like play Heroes of the Storm. Like I'm not gonna play. I know Dota's really good. I know a lot of people play League of Legends, but there's something about League of Legends that I just don't like. I don't know what it is, but and then Dota's supposedly a harder version of League of Legends. Um, but I wouldn't mind playing Heroes of the Storm. If anybody's played Paragon or Heroes of the Storm, and wants to play and explain some of this stuff to me, because I've never played MOBA games really at all. I know I'm going to play Overwatch, but it's more of a hero
Right.
shooter. It's not a MOBA. Um, but so I'm really new. Like the things I know, it's like you want to be the last hit on a person to get the XP. You have a middle lane, right lane, left lane, or a top, middle, bottom. I mean, I understand all of that stuff. Um, but when it comes to like playing cards, power up cards, buy this, buy that, go to this little guy here, do this, do that. I'm just kind of like, it's a lot further than just point and click and shoot the guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, and a lot of it's just, um, I know it's just one of those things like you just have to spend some time to learn it, which is why
I think you need a lot of time.
yeah, well, when I first played my first match in Paragon, I was just like, I have no idea what's going on. So I watched a couple videos and then I just started playing it and I just kind of took my time, because these type of games, each match lasts 30 minutes to an hour. So I just taking my time and I started picking up things and I'm learning as I go because there's no thing. I mean, you have to go read forums and stuff because it is, a closed beta, I guess, early
Right.
access or whatever. Um, but I started getting the hang of it and actually started doing really good. So, um, I had fun with it. So if anybody wants to check it out, go check out Paragon. If anybody's playing it, let me know. I think it's PC and PS4. I don't think it's coming out on the or on Xbox One. I was playing it on PC.
What?
Yeah.
You talked it up, and it's not even an Xbox One or an
Well,
Xbox show.
well, I don't care. It's a game. It's what I've been playing.
Okay.
Um,
So I'm going to talk about some board games now.
well, you talked about your mobile game.
I briefly mentioned it
Oh well.
in
Um,
passing.
somebody was playing Iron Banner on Destiny. Brentley, what's wrong with you? Brentley said he was playing Iron Banner and that he would get banned. You're not gonna get banned by me. I like Destiny. Their PvP is horrible, but like Iron Banner. But I like the game. But yeah, so Division, Rocket League, Paragon. That's pretty much what I've
I'm
played.
watching a video on the Paragon website.
Yeah,
That's crazy. There's just so much going on.
yeah. So
It
I was
makes
playing.
no sense what's going on.
I can't even remember the character that I've been playing. I've been kind of focusing on one because every character is different. I've kind of been focusing on one. It's the one guy with the dual pistols. So
Looks like there's 14 of them. A
yeah,
dual pistol,
yeah.
twin blast, ranger,
Yes,
twin
yep,
blast.
yep. That's who I've been playing. So
It's
been
pretty cool.
yeah, one round I was just annihilating. I was like a level 15 because you level each time each match. You start at 0 and you go up.
Right.
I was like a level 15 with like 12 hero kills and 0 deaths. And like it's funny because it's by Epic, so you get the Epic, and you get the voices like you would hear like an Unreal Tournament, like when you just keep killing and killing and killing, and eventually like it said that, and I was just like, nice. It's like I love that. So, but yeah, all right,
Okay.
on to the next thing, which is Patreon.com. If you like the show and you'd like to be a subscriber, go to patreon.com/thisxboxlife. Or if you'd like to take Artemis's place on the donation part on our screen as we stream, send a donation to twitchalerts.com/donate/thisxboxlife. But okay, round table topics. I have a couple things. I had one on here, but I kind of just remembered a couple things that happened over the last week. Um, outside of the Model 3 being revealed from Tesla, is
Oh,
uh, you had Build 2016, and there was some Xbox stuff at Build. Phil Spencer was there, and I was really bummed because I was there last year and I didn't go this year. Maybe next year I'll get to go again. I don't like to ask work to send me to an event like that, multiple years in a row. But I don't have any problem asking them, every other year or so.
okay.
So
Okay.
maybe next year, maybe I'll get in early to see if I can make it. Because last year the tickets sold out in like 8 minutes, so you have to be on there and
Yeah,
be ready.
that's crazy.
But then if any other people want to go to Build, then we can have a meet and greet. Be fun. Um, but at Build, I heard this on another podcast, IGN's Xbox podcast. Um, they briefly mentioned it, but they said Phil Spencer said that support for keyboard and mouse is coming to Xbox One. So, what do you think about that? All right, off the top of your head.
Well,
I know you're not a first person shooter type of player.
yeah.
I think that's where everybody goes first. They're like, oh, Battlefield, it's going to be controller versus keyboard and mouse. I don't want to play keyboard and mouse. But, I mean, just because the Xbox One supports it doesn't mean every game is going to support keyboard and mouse. It's really going to be up to the developer.
So what you're saying is it'll support it maybe for games, right?
It could. It could. I can't
Because
see why not.
aren't the keyboard and mouse already supported? Like if you plug them in, they'll work or something. I thought I remember reading that. I never tried it, but
I don't know if it ever has or not.
I thought it did.
Yeah. Some people are saying it'd be cool because you could like chat, type chat. You can navigate menus, things like that. But I know with the whole cross PC Xbox play, they're already talking about having, special areas where it's like, Xbox only, PC only, or you can mix, because when you're playing PC, you're playing keyboard and mouse. I imagine they would also have another way to say if it's Xbox with keyboard or Xbox with controller only, something like that. They'll let you pick and choose. Um, but I really don't see a problem with it. I think it would be neat.
No, yeah.
Um, Honestly, I think PlayStation has supported that for a while, but you have to set up your Xbox in an area where you can have a keyboard and mouse for one. Like I'm sitting at my computer, I use my keyboard to I open up the Xbox app on my computer, my right monitor, and then
Sure.
as
Yeah.
I get messages or even in Rocket League, when I go and you hit a chat, you can hit the back button to chat and it'll bring up the screen. But then it'll bring up the screen on the Xbox app if it's connected to my Xbox, and I'll just type my message and hit enter, and that's me chatting in the game through my Xbox. So, um, yeah. But I heard that's coming. I personally am just like, okay, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Usually I do. It'd be nice for like RTS, like maybe Halo Wars 2 will support it for anybody who's not playing it on PC. But to me, I think it's going to be one of those things where if you buy it on Xbox, you'll get it on PC and you can play cross-platform and stuff like that. So that's one thing I saw. The other thing is that was at Build was your Xbox can be now a dev kit. So they're
Yeah.
finally turning that on. I don't know if
Actually,
it's
that's done, right? Isn't it turned on already?
is it turned on. So I saw it. I don't know if it's turned on now or if it's when the next update goes live. So that's either or. I mean, it's kind of coming for sure. Um, that's that. And the other thing I wanted to mention was Ghosts of Meridian. Meridian, yeah. The latest free content for Halo 5 Guardians will arrive this coming week. So it has 2 new maps, new weapons, vehicles, new visual customizations, and more. Um, so you can see a live stream on the 5th from 3 to 5 on for 343. So they're going to be streaming it on Twitch on Tuesday. So if you guys want to see what it is. But yeah, new content there.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Yeah.
So it looks like you can run your Xbox One in two modes, retail mode and dev mode.
Okay.
And you cannot be in the preview program. So you have, if you're in the preview program, you have to leave the preview program. And then once your Xbox resets, then you go to the Xbox store, do a search for dev mode activation, download it, confirm, do your business in there. And looks like that's it. There's some stuff that you need to do on Microsoft website as well, but that's how you do it on the Xbox side.
Okay.
Doesn't seem too bad. Looks to be about 16 steps altogether. And then you can switch back.
Yeah. And I mean, it's meant for if you want to be a developer. I mean, there's no reason to do it unless you're going to be developing a game or
Exactly.
apps. I mean, I guess they targeted developing apps. So, if I wanted to build a Windows TXL app to put on your Xbox, I could do so. So, and I would put my thing into development mode, so then I could test the app on my Xbox. So,
Wasn't there something special that people were doing like 2 years ago where you could switch into some kind of developer mode and it would actually hose your machine?
I don't remember.
Remember that? No.
No, I
Okay.
do not remember that. So, I'm trying to think. I had something else on the top of my head. Oh man, it was a
Hey,
good one too. Go ahead.
yeah, one thing that we discussed, I think last week, was because actually I think you had brought it up. It was about how the Sony with the VR
Yeah.
might need new hardware. Didn't they release that like the day after our show went out? Or it hit the news that that was going to happen?
No, no, all
No,
that stuff
like
was
it was
before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where it
what I
needed
was
like the
talking what I,
PlayStation 4.5.
well, yeah, and that was based on that news, the stuff I was
Okay.
talking about. Um yeah, I mean, they're it's rumored that they're calling the 4K or whatever, 4.5 or 4K. It's kind of one of those things. It all depends on how they handle it. A lot of people, it's all speculation because nobody knows for sure. But people and I were talking about at work, and I'm like, do remember that the original 360 did not have HDMI. It did
Right.
not have internal Wi-Fi. Just things like that. It
Yep.
had a what 20 gig hard drive, and then about
Sure.
2-3 years later, they came out with another Xbox. It had like a smaller nanometer, however the smaller processor, so it was a little bit ran a little bit cooler because obviously the three red lights issue. And then eventually they built in Wi-Fi. The hard drive went up to what 60 gig I think was the first jump, or did it go straight to 120?
Hmm.
Maybe it went to 120. I know it was 120,
Yeah.
250. Um, just and the buttons were different. They went to like the little touch, like the contact sensitive buttons and not the push buttons. It was just like, and that was and it had HDMI, so that was an iteration of
Right. Right.
Xbox. But the thing was, is they didn't make it more powerful.
Right.
So everybody, when you were developing for a game for the Xbox, you're still developing it for the same Xbox. Who care? But it was an updated Xbox. It was, a 360.1, type of scenario. This one here is, they're saying if they do the same thing where it's like I build for the same PlayStation, I don't have to worry about more power and everything's going to run on both PlayStations. It's the same thing, there's nothing wrong with that. But if it comes down to like the game will run better, you will be able to do this. You can only do this if it's on the 4.5. You can only, if they put that line between the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4.5 or 4K, that's a problem. They've sold over 30 million of those things, and pretty much they would be crapping on 30 million people. So that's a lot of the talk that's going on there. And it's all speculation because who knows what they're going to do. They may not even be real. They may look at it and be like, nope, not worth doing. But yeah. So,
Yeah. It makes me wonder. It's like, how does Sony sell 60 million consoles?
right.
Bring out a better one.
Yeah. Well,
Rebuy.
they're saying that if they would do like only runs on 4.5, or you can only do this on the 4.5, how it would just destroy them, because it would be such a bad move. And this is coming from Colin on Kind of Funny, who Colin's like one of my favorite people to listen to on the internet. I really like him. I like his journalism. I like the way he does stuff. I kind of have the same views as he does. Not all the views. Like I do disagree with him in certain things too. And he's all PlayStation, So he's saying it would be a bad idea and how it would kind of destroy him, because they're saying that the Xbox One would pass PlayStation if they would do that, because people would be so angry. Um, it's one of those things they'd have to do and see. But if they would do that, and it would kind of be seen as a separate PlayStation, and they would stop making PlayStation 4s, because they're saying they're going to continue to make PlayStation 4, which is really weird. They're not phasing it out. But if they would phase it out, and Xbox One would then just have to pass the PlayStation 4 to say that it won the console war. No, we won. You guys gave up at 30 million. You guys went and built another console. We win. So, not that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but cool. Did we talk last week about the controversy in Blizzard and Overwatch, or did
I
that
don't think
happen?
so.
Did that happen
I don't,
afterwards?
I'm not sure.
The Tracer stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So Overwatch, I've pre-ordered. I'm ready. It comes out on
All right.
PC and Xbox One and everything. If you pre-order, you get it early next month. There is a character, Tracer, one of my favorite characters to play. Female character, really fast, can rewind time, and can also has like a dart capability. So as you're running, like your cursor, the cursor for your gun will be in the middle screen, and there'll be like three triangles underneath it. And with I played on PC, so if you'd right click your mouse, she would jump forward like dart forward, almost like blink, if you know what I'm talking about. Um, and you could do it three times real quick, and then her superpower was like rewinding time,
Okay.
which was really cool because I had a person running behind me shooting me, and I rewound time and got a jump on them. I think they still ended up killing me though, but it was pretty cool because I rewound behind them.
Wait,
Um,
how's that work if it's all real time? How does it rewind for you?
it's just a power. They disappear, and she pops back 3 seconds back or whatever. It's not rewinding everybody's time; it's rewinding her time.
Oh, so it just pops her back to where she was 3 seconds ago.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
really
makes
cool.
sense.
There's a victory stance that she had where it's one of those, look over your shoulder type of victory stances, and somebody complained about it, saying that they're
What?
sexualizing the character too much.
That's
And it's in
ridiculous.
our Facebook groups where I first spotted it because I looked at it. I'm like, oh, don't tell me. And Blizzard ripped it out. They took that stance out. Um, and it's funny because some people are really angry about it. Um, they're saying that it was like some online petition. They're like, hey, let's start another online petition to remove the guns from Overwatch. And that petition actually got more signatures than the petition to remove the stance. But they're not removing the guns, but they removed the stance. So
Wait. So what's his stance about? I mean, she just looks over his shoulder.
yeah, her butt's facing you basically.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So and actually, there's a guy stance where he's looking over his shoulder too, but they left that one in. Um, just
Hmm.
one of those things, and it's I don't know what is going on, but all you gotta do is find something to complain about and just threaten something, and a company will cave. They will
Well,
just cave. And
I hope they put it back later.
well,
Once they get everybody's money, they can put it back.
you look at the other side of it though. Like, remember the games where it was just like every female character like had had like a massive chest or whatever,
Sure. Right.
and like none of us we didn't like that. Like, a lot of people complained about it, and it was a really good complaint. Like, look at Street Fighter 5. There's some character in Street Fighter 5 that it's just ridiculous. Um, but this one here, there wasn't anything wrong with it. It was just one of those things, and somebody complained about it, and they ripped it right out of there. And so some people weren't happy, some people were. Me, I don't care because it's not a part of the gameplay. And I think that was the main argument, was like, it doesn't hurt the game to take it out. And it's like, okay, whatever. But yeah, it's just like, hey, if there's something about a game you guys don't like, I mean, look at the ending of Mass Effect 3. People complained about the ending of Mass Effect 3 so much, they went and changed the
Yeah,
ending.
it's so stupid.
It's like, if you don't like it, don't buy it. That's my thing. And there's no way that this person complaining about this was going to cause this big uproar and people weren't going to go buy Overwatch. Because to me, I just look past it. If there's something I don't like about a game, I mean, I won't buy it. Me just complaining to the internet doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. So
Hey, you just have to learn to not take everything so personal.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess if a game, every time you won, it said, "Hey, Brun, you're a complete moron." Okay, I might have a problem with that because it's directly attacking me. But if it was like,
What's wrong with that?
it's a guy with no shirt and big muscles, I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, you're sexualizing that guy in this game." I want it taken out because I'm not a complete fit, guy. I have a. How come every character with a big belly in a game has a pig face? since I'm a heavier guy, I take offense to that. I want that taken out. Which Overwatch has a big guy, big belly guy on it. I think and he has like a hook, and he has like a gas mask or something. Like, why? All big guys fart. Oh, you need a gas mask. Oh, I'm offended. And I'll go and complain about it. Maybe they'll rip that out, or something. But so yeah.
I think I've got it figured out, Brian.
Okay.
It's an easy answer.
Okay.
All right. So here's the deal. People complain to get all that racy stuff pulled out of the games because they don't want to be busted by their girlfriends or wives while they're playing. That's it.
Is that what it is?
That's all it is.
I'm trying to find, and the funny thing is like, the pose that's on there, it's all over the internet. It's not going away on the internet ever. So it's funny that this person gets it removed from the game, but complaining about it has basically made it 5 million pictures of it on the internet, which will never go away. So,
Well, that's the picture. Oh, jeez.
yeah. So,
Ridiculous.
yeah, the one that I thought was actually interesting is the one I'm sending you now, because this one here is one that would actually, I think, is pretty bad.
Why is it bad?
Well, because they're saying that since they ripped out the image of her, the sexualized image of her, basically it's like how women are treated in the Middle East and stuff, where they have to cover their entire body
Right? Like with the
with a burqa.
burqa.
Yeah. So that was what they're saying they're going to put in the game is Tracer's going to be in a burqa because
Oh, this is the same one?
it's just, well,
The same character?
it's the same character, but somebody made a like a meme of it or whatever.
I got you. Yeah.
So, yeah, they said that's going to be the new Tracer winning stance is going to be her with that on. So,
You can still see her eyes.
yeah,
They offend me.
yeah, it offends me. So I'm offended. But yeah, that was one other thing. So I mean, there's a line. Like I said, like some things I don't care for, but I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go on the internet and complain. I feel bad. We're in our 30s.
Sure.
Sure.
I'll stick with that.
Yep, or 40s. And I feel like everybody that's between the age of 18 and 22, if people are listening are between the 18 and 22, I feel like what they see in the world today is if you want something, all you have to do is complain hard enough and then you'll get it. And that's not the way the real world works. So don't pay attention to what you see out there because that's not the way real things work. Some people seem to get away with it, and I just see it as a trend, and it's not a good trend. So, but we'll leave that at that. And then my other thing, the other thing I wanted to talk about or throw out there is Quantum Break comes out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I am very excited to play it. I'm
On
giving
PC or on Xbox?
I'll be playing it on Xbox.
Okay.
My score is a 2.4 out of 10. Very shameful. Don't really care for the game. But yeah, I never played it, but I'm just going to say I don't like it because everybody else says they don't like it. Or a few websites gave it really horrendous scores. And I go out there and I read, and people's like, "Oh, I'm glad I'm not getting it. I knew this was going to be a really bad game. I'm not buying it." And I just want to put it there, like, "Oh, I didn't know you played it." So, of course, they're going off a trusted review source that probably somebody. Like I said, I like how Colin reviews games and stuff. Jeff Gersman is a guy I like in games journalism and as a critic. He gave it a 4 point, basically a 4. He gave it a real bad score. And I was very surprised when I'm like, oh man, this group, Giant Bomb gave it a 4, or a 40 is how they get. I don't know if there's a 4 stars or maybe there's just 2 stars or something like that. And when I went to look at who wrote it, I was actually very surprised. I'm like, oh man, I got to read through here to see what he didn't like about it. I mean, and he gives his opinion and he justifies why he gave it that score. But the people and the things are just like, oh, I know, I'm glad I didn't buy it. I'm glad I didn't do this. And then you turn around and there's scores that are 9s. IGN gave it an 8, and we all know how, we kind of said, hey, IGN, you gave The Division a 6.7. Not what I would have gave it, but hey, that's what you gave it. That's what you gave it. But I still play it and I enjoy it. So I'm very excited to play Quantum Break, regardless if it's a 9 or a 4 or whatever, because I think it's going to be fun. I like Remedy. I'm excited to play the game. But it's just all over the place. One group gave it a 6 out of 10. And I actually watched the video review because I think it was Games Radar. I can't remember. I'll have to pop up Metacritic here as I'm talking. But during their video review, one of their complaints was it only had one ending. I didn't know every game needed to have more than one ending. I was very surprised when I saw that. I'm like, oh man, I didn't know more than one games had to have more than one ending. And the thing was like, well, there's different branching and different paths you can take during the game. And in the middle of the game, each, it would be different, but it all leads to the same ending. Yeah. Right? So they're saying that that's bad because it makes them feel that the choices you make don't have any different outcome.
So they slam every Telltale game, right?
I don't know. So,
you know what, Brun? I think I'm going to give it a rating of 0.5.
Okay.
Solely, even though I haven't played it yet.
Right.
Solely based on the fact that it has the letter Q in the title. And it ends in a K.
Okay.
That is my reasoning.
Okay.
And it's just as good as theirs.
Yeah. Well, these guys have played. I mean, the people that are reviewing it have played it. Another.
Or you know what? Or there's another thing that just irks me about the game, and that's that actor that's in the game.
Uh-huh.
He's got a brother, and I can't tell them apart.
Oh, jeez. Shawn Ashmore, is that his name? Shawn Ashmore.
And, yeah, Iceman. He was the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or he's on what's that show? Dark Matter? No, not Dark Matter. It's on Sci-Fi.
Oh, I don't know. I think it was GameSpot was the one that gave it. They gave it a 6, and he was the one that mentioned only having one ending. And also, he said it's kind of crappy because you can beat the single player game in just under 10 hours. I'm just like I'm looking and
horrible.
Yeah, and some people want to give a review and then they say they're like, oh, the game mechanics and the time mechanics are awesome. They're really fun. They're pretty cool. But sometimes you have to rely on the guns to kill the enemies because there's guns in it, and that you can't just sometimes your powers won't help you with every enemy, so you have to rely on your guns. But in the shooting's kind of floaty per se, which I could see as a possible issue as far as it being floaty if it's your one main reason or one main way to kill or to take down an enemy. And if you have to reload 2 or 3 times because, the shooting's floaty. But it's just like some of the complaints to knock down their score, to me, didn't make any sense. I know it probably makes sense to them, and that's why it's an opinion, and I'm not bashing them or anything like that. And obviously I'll know what I think about the game after I play it. But yeah, I was just very surprised on the range of scores and the range of the reviews. Because even when I was listening to podcasts Unlocked and stuff, like they all were saying good things about it. They had some negative things about it, but they're all just like, "Oh yeah, it's a good game." It's like one person's like, "Yeah, it's one of those games where I was just like, I kept thinking about it. Like I wanted to play it so much, I just kept thinking about it until I got to play it, and then I beat it, and I just kept thinking about it." So it's like, obviously, it's good enough to some people. So it's definitely one of those things. Like, you gotta go play it to get an idea if you like it or not. Take if you're like, I like looking at reviews, and that's kind of why I picked this topic. Is I like looking at reviews. I like reading reviews to help me make a decision, but not to make up my mind. You know, it a review does
Exactly.
not answer for me. It helps me make a decision. And most of the time, when I really look at a review, is if I'm between two games that come out at the same time, and I really have to pick and choose where I want to put my money. Where am I?
Hmm.
Where am I going to have possibly? Where do I have the best chance of having more fun or more game time? So I'll look, and if one game gets a 9 and the other game gets a 6, I'll read the reviews and say, okay, yeah, I think the 9 is probably the better route. If they both get 9s, then it's a little more troublesome. But don't let somebody's review make up your mind for you. Let it
Yeah.
help you make a decision on something.
Yeah, that's a very good point because I see this a lot more on the board game side.
Mm-hmm.
So, like with this board game life, there's actually, well, in the board game space, there's a lot more releases of titles.
Right.
Like there's a big show in Germany for board games in the fall, and I think there were like a couple hundred that released there, and total there was probably 800 to 1,000 titles that released last year. So it's there's quite a few titles out there, and there's a lot of people that will actually look at reviews and judge games just based on what somebody said.
Right.
And you don't do that. It's just, how can you judge anything by not having the experience yourself and just going based on somebody's words on something?
Right.
You should just, whatever reviews that you see, I don't even think review is a good name for it. It's an opinion. It's somebody's opinion of the title. If it was strictly like an informational thing, it would just have like, these are the graphics, this is the audio, this is how it plays.
Right.
But then they give you this, like, what their take on it is and what irks them, what they like. Just watch as much as you can, play it for yourself, then have an opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
This, I haven't played the game, but I'm rating it a 2. That's ridiculous.
Right.
That kind of stuff shouldn't even be allowed,
Well,
I think.
that's the reason why reviewers and critics are there. I mean, they're there to help you do things like they. I kind of have this growing problem with the game's journalism or game criticism. Um, when I'm hearing, I'm listening on the podcast and they were saying that, well, Quantum Break doesn't look good. Uh,
What?
Uncharted 4 looks better. And it's just like,
Jeez.
oh, wait. I mean, even there's stuff like, how do you compare those two games? Yeah, no. Both games graphically look great. Uncharted 4 looks awesome. Quantum Break looks awesome. It doesn't mean Quantum Break is worse than Uncharted. I mean, like, how do you compare those two games? And it's funny because when they said that, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, you know what? Let me go look at this and let me go look at that. All these places that are scoring this, like, I hate to tell everybody, Uncharted 4, 10.0. I'm calling it right now. It is going to get a perfect score. If it doesn't, I'll be surprised. I'll be so surprised if Uncharted 4 doesn't get a perfect score. If Quantum Break was a PlayStation exclusive, it would be a 9.0, 10.0. I really am getting to that point where if it's anything exclusive to Xbox, it's bad. And if it's exclusive to PlayStation, it's good. And that's if games are good, or, if it's a bad game and it's PlayStation, it's good. If it's a good game for PlayStation, it's great. If it's a great game for Xbox, it's okay. And if it's an okay game for Xbox, it's horrible. It's just like the scale is so far off when it comes to games journalism and criticism. And I listen to a number of podcasts, and when you have an Xbox podcast or a Sony podcast that are sponsored by the same company that they're talking about the console, how is that not a conflict of interest? And do you believe they would be honest? Like, if we were sponsored by Xbox, if every show started this show and says,
We're not?
No, we're not. Believe it or not.
Oh.
It says,
I need to review my contract then.
This week's episode of This Xbox Life is sponsored by, Xbox Live. Do you want to play with your friend? Like if our show all started off, would you expect us to say anything bad about Xbox? Negative? You wouldn't think we would say anything negative because we're getting paid by those guys. And when you hear, I don't know who the sponsor comes through for. I'd have to go check the Podcast Unlocked who the sponsor is at the beginning of their show. But I know the beginning of the show for Beyond, which is the IGN's PlayStation podcast, is sponsored by PlayStation View. So they're sponsored by something PlayStation for a PlayStation podcast. What makes me think that they're ever going to say anything negative about them, regardless if they have a negative comment or not? Because if you say something negative, there goes your there goes your sponsorship, there goes your ad dollars, there goes your money. Us on this show, if we don't like something about the Xbox, we'll say we don't like it about the Xbox. We don't care, because, and we've said things we don't like about our console and games and stuff like that, because we're not getting paid by anybody. And if we were, you really got to think about that. It's like, this show's brought to you by Quantum Break. Oh, Quantum Break's is 11.0 out of 10. It's like, that's what I feel like it happens when it comes to that. And I feel that the ad money and just the money in general coming in games and into the journalism and stuff is really tainting what they're there for. I've seen it, and it's just like over the past couple of years, it's just grown on me like that. It's like I can't take it almost. It just drives me crazy. So it's not everybody, but I just feel that way, and I should. And it's like just because I wouldn't feel that way if they didn't present the opportunity to make me feel that way. It's like they don't even hide it anymore.
No.
So
just the way it is.
Oh yeah, and it's sad. I know companies like IGN and like if you go back to who was one up?
Oh,
EGM?
I think so.
EGM, right?
It's been so long.
When they fired everybody and sold everything off because they were just out, I guess, having money issues. I think that's what it was years ago. That was crappy. It's like, oh man, that's horrible. And they were in print, and now it's just like, what happens if IGN ever would shut down? Or I think IGN would fold if they didn't get all the ad revenue and stuff that they get. You go to their site. And they have separation of duties. Like, they don't know what's on their site or who their sponsors are getting, and they shouldn't, because then that would lead to them not being honest. I really do feel that way. But when I open up a podcast and it's a host of the podcast reading the sponsorship of the podcast, then there's no separation. They know exactly who's paying them. And that's a problem. That's a conflict of interest. But it's almost like I would love to write in and be like, so what do you think about the Sony View? And they're all going to say great things about it. And I would just like to say, I bet you're all going to say great things about it because you're sponsored by it. And then just to see what they would say. For one, they wouldn't read it on there because they know what I'd be trying to do. But
Yeah.
so, variety of scores for Quantum Break, and that's what I feel about the games media.
Yeah.
So, and
It's
I
been
am
that
not
way
game.
for too
I am
long,
not
though.
games media. I am a fan of gaming and of Xbox in particular. But
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm not afraid to say I am not liking how my Xbox is slowing down for some reason. So
It's slowing down.
yes, the freaking guide and stuff is losing responsiveness. I don't know why, and I don't want to have to refresh. Talking to Xbox support sometimes on Twitter. I wish I could strangle somebody, but I don't want them to come back and say, "Oh, well, let's reset everything." I don't want to do that. I shouldn't have to do that. So, but all right. Do you have anything you want to talk about? Anything else?
No,
I
no,
know I've been rambling on. I apologize.
no. It's good. It's good.
Nothing.
No, I got nothing.
Not one thing. Well, we do have a couple emails, so that'll probably spark some stuff.
Yeah.
So let's hit the community. So before we shut down Cafe Press, you can go to cafepress.com/thisxboxlife and purchase all your goodies. And you can hang out at the office with your TXL mugs. Sponsored by Cafe Press. They are the greatest ever. So,
Yeah. Get some street cred with your TXL merchandise.
yeah. So your camera shifted to the. You're not in the middle
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
um,
I've got it sitting on this pedestal, and I just happened to like straighten out the pedestal without. I totally forgot the camera was on it.
don't do that anymore. Um,
Okay, well,
but all right, community time. So everybody in the community that's been around for a while, the whole thing I'm going to go through here. But we have had some new people come in, and I believe one of the people that wrote in this week is actually new to the community, so which is great. But if you go to our site, thisxboxlife.com, on the right-hand side, you'll see a little tag sticking out from the side. It says send voicemail. Click on that, follow the prompts, and you can send us a voicemail that we will play and answer in the show. Other than that, you can do the contact form. Fill out a question, or fill out your information there. Send us in a question. We will put it, read it, and answer it in the show. Or if you want to email directly, if you prefer to use your email, you can email contact@thisxboxlife.com, and we will read it and answer it in the show. So let's do emails first. So, time to earn your paycheck.
all right. First one is from. There's two ways I could say this. I'll go with by chop 25 or
I was gonna
Bishop.
say,
Bishop.
like Bishop, but without
Bishop.
the
Yeah.
S. But
Oh yeah. Okay, one of those three.
the new.
Hey,
Sorry,
yes.
you're new, and we're
Yeah.
butchering your name. Oh my gosh, you have to write in
Yes.
again and tell us how that is.
Please put
Voicemail.
in your message how to phonetically say it.
Yeah,
Your name.
voicemail. We need a voicemail next week so we can hear
Oh
it.
yeah, there you go. All right. So hey guys, recently started listening to the show. I'm really enjoying it. I've been playing The Division and love it, but I have been having some of the same issue in the Dark Zone where I'm getting ganged up on right when I enter. I'm new to gaming. I got my Xbox at Christmas, and with family, my playing time is limited. So I really haven't met people to play with the exception of my nephew every once in a while. Do you have any pointers on Dark Zone play? Do you, Brun?
Yeah, don't go in alone. No.
Oh, yeah. I think that's number one.
Well, some people can go in alone if you have a certain setup. The setup I have I've already mentioned. I mentioned the last couple weeks I got off of X Factor on YouTube, and the whole setup is to help you. It's basically meant for you to survive longer when you're by yourself. Um, so you can obviously run that setup. Like if you're running a turret or anything like that, then you're gonna have to give up some stuff to basically be able to run on your own. The other thing I say, get out there in our Facebook group if you're not out there already. Find out who's out there playing. Send a friend request if you haven't already to me. I'm BJSwick33. We'll get in there and play. Wing always grabs me. I'm trying to think of Xbox Record that is in there a good bit. We have people from the community in there all the time. And most people do not mind playing along. So since you are new to the community, get out there in Facebook. Try to get up with some people there. Is probably the easiest thing I can say for you to do. And this is the perfect and not to like brag about our community, or yes, to brag about our community, but you are kind of in the same boat as most of us. We are all older adults with families, kids, things like that. So we all understand the same situations. Like, my gaming time is limited. Like when I jump in and play, I can't waste my time just running around by myself. Like it's always nice to have somebody there. And that's what our community, I think, is like the best for. Is we all understand exactly what you're saying. So
Yeah.
typically, when we jump in, there's just message popping everywhere, and it's like if you don't answer everybody's message, they understand. Like I log in and I get Wing hits me up. A couple people from work will hit me up. Sometimes Brentley will hit me up. Armistice will hit me up. And that's why it's awesome to have Xbox app open on my computer next to me because I can reply already in a group, already in a group, already in a group, or hey, I grouped up with this people this time. I'll try to group up with you guys tomorrow, and things like that. The other thing is if you are by yourself, don't go off in the dark zone. Go run your dailies, things like that, where you can do the quick matching. Which is pretty. I love that. It's so nice if I don't see people running in the dark zone or out, or do not get a message pop. I'm like, all right, time for dailies, which I haven't done in the last couple of days. But that's what I would say. I'm only in the 24 on the dark zone. I think Wing's over 50. He would be the main guy, but that's really the advice I can give. So next.
All right. Next up is from Nightlord 40K. I love most things about Xbox One, especially since we're seeing regular updates that seem to add many of the features the Xbox community has been asking for. My only real complaint, and it is small, is that my games and apps tile, just the games section really. I want my digital games and my disc-based games to be in separate lists, or for them to at least give us a separate folder that we could move our disc-based games to. There is no reason that they should be mixed in with our digital games. The way Xbox has this particular section set up is a mess. It works, but it is a mess. Really, I wouldn't mind a folder for the app section as well, just so I could hide the apps I don't use on a regular basis. This is just a small gripe of mine and really the only negative thing that I can see at the moment with Xbox One. So my question to each of you is, what are your thoughts on my games and apps tile? Does it bother you a bit like it does me, or are you satisfied with the way that it is? What do you think?
So is he talking about the section at the bottom of the dashboard where everything's kind of mixed together? That's like your pinned items, right?
Yeah, it's like well, for me, the games and apps tile or the games and apps section
Mm-hmm.
that you get to by hitting the right trigger and then selecting it.
All right.
It splits everything into what? Apps, games,
And
and
Q.
queue.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, everything is all together,
Yeah, but
which is kind of
if you
annoying.
pin things and you hit the right trigger and you go down, there's all your pins, and they're
Right.
not separated. They're whatever order you put them in.
Right.
So okay,
It
let's
would be
answer.
nice to have folders, and I would think that that's coming, but
Yeah. So if you were talking about the section just where where all your things are pinned, um, you can do something to separate them, and I would recommend, like, if you want to separate your disc-based games that you have pinned versus your digital, and then your apps, is seeing that we can move the tiles now. Maybe put all your digital games first, and then your apps, and then your disc-based games. So you're
or
actually,
whatever you have the most
yeah, or
of,
yeah,
put it up top.
whatever order you want to put them in.
Yeah.
But if you would separate them with your apps tiles, then you would at least know that way. Um, that was one way I could recommend. Otherwise, what you're asking for is probably a way for not only in the my games and apps, but you to more separate those with sections, which would be nice. Similar to like Windows 8 or the Windows 10 big screen, you can actually put a little bar, like there's a little space you can put between your tiles, which kind of separates them a little bit. That would be nice. I know what you're. That would be kind of a cool way to separate them. When you could move your tiles around, put like basically a horizontal rule in there. If you were talking about when you go to the apps and games app, which it has games and then apps, they're already separated, and then queue. Inside games, yes, you have all of your games because basically that's just kind of like all the stuff you've played, and they are mixed. So I would agree with you that it would be nice to be able to separate. Hey, these are just saves or DLC because they're disc based, or these are full digital games. I think that actually would be a cool idea. You should go to I think it's xbox.uservoice.com. Is that it, Rob?
I think, yeah.
Xbox.user xbox.uservoice.com, which is the feedback where they are looking at and building things into the update. Oh man, I just turned my Xbox on. Xbox turn off? Yes. You guys could all hear that, right?
I heard you saying.
Well, no, like you guys should. You might hear my the audio and stuff going through there because it runs through the same board. um, yeah, it just turned off. So if you go there and put your request in and let us know if you put it in, and I'll go upvote it because I think mine that I have out there has like 90 votes now. I think it's like it's made it up to the second or third page, and mine has to deal with the Xbox app itself for PC. I want to be able to select my own audio input and output source so I can use my equipment. Otherwise, it just echoes. People hear themselves talk, which is annoying. Um, but yeah, somebody was saying, Brentley is saying this episode of This Xbox Life is sponsored by Rob's Drink
Sure.
and Mountain Dew because I was drinking Mountain Dew. But yeah,
I have the tape on my can, so you can't see it because they didn't pay us, or maybe I don't.
But yeah, to answer your question, I'm okay with the way it is, and the only reason why I say that is because I don't have any disc-based games. But I can absolutely see what you're saying, and I would agree with you that it would be cool to have a way to separate them.
Or at least to organize it somehow,
Yeah.
because this past week I got in on the Doom beta
Mm-hmm.
that they had. So I went into, on Thursday, I went into my games and apps, and I scrolled through that list left and right, probably 4 or 5 times looking for Doom. It turned out not to be there, but it was really annoying just having I'm using the bumper buttons up on top
Right.
to go, or the left and right buttons up on top of the controller, just to go like page by page. It would be nice to have some kind of sorting that you could do. I mean, heck, the 3DS, simple little Nintendo portable lets you do folders and such.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the Xbox?
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah, you mentioned you know what I like about the 3DS and stuff is you can increase and decrease the size of the tiles so you get more per
oh yeah,
page. That's
yep,
what
that too.
these two lines, what is it? Two lines?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, two rows on and you have enough space for 15 more rows on that page. Like stop making me go left and right so far. I mean, once you go all the way to the right of all your installed games, that's where it shows like all the games you can install or ready to install. And they have what 4 or 5 rows and everything's a little bit smaller. Like why can't I adjust that? I would like to have that. That would be nice. Um, but
Oh, interesting thing about that little ready to be installed section. So it turned out that the Doom beta was not in my list because I was part of the alpha a couple months ago. And then after the alpha, I uninstalled it. But when they started the beta, they basically just shipped out an update
oh,
to the game. They
okay.
shipped out an update to the game, so it was the same title. It was the same game, just
Mhm.
now it wasn't an alpha, it was a beta. So since I uninstalled it and I actually hid it because I didn't want to see it in my list
Mhm.
because I thought I was done with it, I wasn't sure how to find it again. And I couldn't find it. I was doing searches in the store, couldn't find it. And it turns out that if you go into the like ready to be installed section,
Mhm.
if you hold down both triggers and then press X for about 1 or 2 seconds and let go, it shows you everything in that
Oh, okay.
list. So everything that you hid
Hid.
before gets unhidden temporarily so you can install like that Scream Ride demo that you're just itching to reinstall or whatever the case may be.
Do I hear
But
wind?
just yeah, it's very windy in the Windy City. Isn't that crazy?
Is that what that is?
It is. It's
Oh,
wind outside.
wow.
We've got like 30, 40 mile an hour winds.
Jeezy cow. Yeah, we had like 60-mile-an-hour winds like over the weekend. Crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was earlier.
Yeah. Like I hear whistling. I'm like looking around like what is that?
I don't think my little sound equipment here is gonna cut this out. Actually, let me see. Yeah, gusts up to 50 miles an hour
Oof. Okay.
right now. Good old Windy City.
Anything else about the dashboard or
No, 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 no,
good?
no, no, no. Yep.
All right. Well, that's as far as community, as far as the emails and stuff that we received. You can also go to twitter.com/this Xbox Life. And like I mentioned before, as far as our group, our main group, we all chit chat on facebook.com/groups/this Xbox Life. All right. So, games this week.
Retail releases. So, of course, I don't think I even need to mention this, but Quantum Break comes out this week.
Woohoo.
I think we mentioned it a couple times already.
Yep.
It's too bad that the game is so lowly rated.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh, you might be more interested in playing the following titles since Quantum Break is so horrible: RBI Baseball 16, Dirt Rally, Star Wars Battlefront Outer Rim, Letter Quest, Grimm's Journey Remastered, Enigmatus, The Ghost of Maple Creek, and Stickbold, A Dodgeball Adventure. For the Xbox 360, we have nothing as far as we are aware of.
No. And the last three that you read off for Xbox One come out on Friday.
Yeah. Then Games with Gold changed up on Friday. I think that was the first. So for Xbox One, we still have Lords of the Fallen, which carried over from last month. And new for April is The Wolf Among Us. And then for Xbox 360, we have Dead Space. That one just started up on the 1st.
Cool.
And Dead Space is available for backwards compatibility. So if you have an Xbox One, make sure to grab The Wolf Among Us and Dead Space. Then if you're going to be making any purchases on Amazon.com, please make sure to use our affiliate link. That way you can get whatever stuff you're looking to get from Amazon.com. Plus, you get to help out the show. We get a tiny little referral fee for sending you their way. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it does help the show out. Also, if you're on iTunes, go ahead, look us up on iTunes and give us a rating. 5-star few. Oh boy, 5-star review, please. The more 5-star reviews that we get, it turns us into a featured podcast where more and more folks can find out about the show. And that's all I've got, Brun. How about you?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. So I'm trying to think.
Yeah, if we wrap up the show now, I can probably run outside and chase down my grill cover, as it's probably 2 blocks away.
So, all right. No, that's it. Wing
Okay.
should be back next week. I think all 3 of us will be back next week.
Yeah.
We'll probably have some info on Quantum Break on our 1.0 rating. So
Our combined scores.
yeah,
You know what? I'm gonna go down to 0.3333. So us combined can be a 1-star rating.
I'll give it a 33. It's a good number.
Okay.
Don't know why I like it so much.
33 and a third.
Yeah. So, but all right. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We will be back next week. So I am Brun BJ Swick 33.
And I'm Rob, also known as Presar. Thanks for listening.